The Fitterist Show with your host, Christopher Allen, where we explore the art of mind and body conditioning. With essentially all gyms now closed to help contain the spread of coronavirus, people have turned their attention and focus into working out at home. While in many cases it's not ideal, home workouts can not only help you continue with your fitness journey, but also allow you to be creative. Now's not the time to make excuses and simply skip exercising. You just have to think a little differently about your workout. In part 1 of this series, we covered upper body and cardio, and in this week, we're going to cover lower body and ab training in part 2. We'll take you through a variety of different at-home exercises, whether you have no equipment or some equipment, to help keep you on track. So, let's dive in. So if you remember back to the previous episode, we covered upper body, which included chest, shoulders, triceps, biceps, and back in that episode. And we also included cardio elements. And in today's episode, we're going to cover lower body, which includes your quads, hamstrings, your calves, and also different exercises to train your abs. So legs are one of the most powerful muscle groups in the entire body, and we're going to break it up into quads, hamstrings, and calves. Let's start off with quads. So the first exercise is what's called a banded squat. That's a pretty foundational movement, and what you want to do is you want to start with your feet about shoulder width apart, toes maybe slightly out or pointing straight forward, and your arms down at your side. And the resistance band, if you have one, should be above your knees. So just above your knees, not way up on your thighs, but just above your knees. Start to bend at the hips and bend your knees, sitting back like you're going to sit down in a chair and allowing your arms to raise up in front of you. You can ensure that your knees don't fall inward and make sure your back stays straight. And when your thighs are parallel to the ground, you can stop and then push up through your heels and return back to the starting position. And that's 1 rep. So again, as we talked about last week, because you're just mostly using body weight, now you can do things like hold an encyclopedia or a backpack of books to make this more difficult as you do your reps. But in general, you're probably going to do higher rep ranges, probably in the 15 to 20 range for the banded squat. And the muscles that are used here, the reason the banded squat is so good, it really hits almost all the leg muscles. It hits your glute, it hits your quadriceps, your hamstrings a little bit, the adductor kind of going up into the groin area, the hip flexors, and also calves for more stabilization. So it's a great exercise for quads. The next exercise is the jump squat, and these are an example of more of a plyometric squat. So plyometric squats involve more explosive movements that require your muscles to exert more force in a very short amount of time. And they combine both speed and strength to help make you more powerful. So what you want to do with the jump squat is, again, assume your basic squat position, feet shoulder width apart, toes parallel, maybe slightly outward. And again, you can use a resistance band and place it just above your knees if you want to. You want to drop down, and on the way up, explode up through your toes into a jump. So you're actually jumping up into the air, landing softly, immediately dropping back down into the squat position, exploding back up off the ground, landing again. Again, it's a great example of combination of plyometric exercise with an explosive movement hitting all the major muscle groups in the quads. The next exercise is a goblet squat. Now, in a goblet squat, you basically hold a dumbbell or something that has weight, like a heavy book or backpack, something like that, in front of your chest with both hands. And as you squat down, your elbows kind of naturally track between your knees while the dumbbell follows. So from a form perspective, you want to vertically hold a dumbbell, gripping it with both your hands underneath the top of the weight. Again, if you have a backpack, you can just wear it reverse on the front of so it's against your chest. And it'll remain in contact throughout the entire movement. Inhale, and as you begin to squat down, sitting back in your hips, keeping your core tight, torso upright. Allow your elbows to track between your knees again, stopping when they touch, and now drive up through your heels back to the starting position. So it's like a banded squat or a regular squat, but it just adds a little bit more weight. And it's easier to handle because the weight is in front of you, it's easier on your back, and it provides many of the same benefits to both the quads and the glutes in this movement, the goblet squat. The next exercise for quads is the walking lunge. And this really includes a number of different muscles that get worked. It's certainly your quadriceps, your glutes, a little bit of your hamstring, your calves, your abs, and your hips and hip flexors. So from a walking lunge perspective, what you want to do is you want to stand up straight, your feet shoulder width apart. Your hands can stay just by the side of your body or on your hips. And you step forward with your right leg, putting the weight into your heel. Bend your right knee, lowering down so it's parallel to the floor in a lunge position. Pause for a second. Without moving the right leg, move your left foot forward, repeating the same movement on the left leg. Pause again as your left leg is parallel to the floor in a lunge position. Repeat this movement, walking forward as you lunge, alternating legs. Again, you probably want to do 10 to 12 to even 20 reps, minimum 2 to 3 sets. You can also in the backyard, I just walk from one side of the yard to the other, down and back, and I call that one set. So it's probably more like 20 some reps going all the way down and all the way back. And it definitely, you will feel it. It's an excellent functional exercise. It helps you with balance, it helps you with stability. It also helps strengthen the lower body. You can easily add them to your workout routine a few times a week to strengthen your legs, your hips, your glutes, and your abs. You'll definitely feel them. Next up are exercise for the glutes. And I want to call these out specifically. A lot of people are looking for specific glute exercises. A lot of these, again, hit quads, a little bit of hamstrings, and glutes. But let's dive in. The first one is the Bulgarian split squat. And this is a single leg variation that forces you to really engage your core. And you could add more difficulty to this one by holding a dumbbell in each hand. But to start with, you just want to position yourself in front of a bench with a split stance, resting your left foot up on the bench that's behind you. Your right foot should be far enough out to comfortably squat down without your knee falling over your toes. So if you're using a band, you can put a short resistance band under the forward foot and hold on to the other end of the short looped band with both of your hands. So again, it's an optional if you want to use the band to make it a little more difficult. That's the way to do it. Keeping your chest up, squat down on your right leg, pushing back up through your heel. Stand up and perform on the other side. So you can do a drop set, like you could start with a band and then let go of the band, which will make it easier, and just use your body weight. So you can do 10 reps maybe with a band, 10 reps with just your body weight. And another trick is to maybe hold the last rep for 5 to 10 seconds, really get that squeeze. So in general, you want to do reps with one leg back on the bench. Then when you're done with those reps, switch and do the other leg. Bulgarian split squats. They're good. Next exercise is what's called the fire hydrant. So this one, you start on all fours. You have a resistance band above your knees, and you want to keep your neck, back, and hips all lined, and move your left leg out to the side to stretch the band. So you're having the natural resistance of the band, so you're lifting your leg up and out. The rest of your body basically just stays in place. You don't turn to the side. You don't have to look to the side. Just raise that left leg and then return to the starting position. And again, do all the repetitions on one side, 10, 15, 20. Then put the left leg down and then do the same movement with your right leg. Third exercise for glutes is the donkey kick. And here again, you want to start on all fours. Resistance bands, you probably have this, should be above your knees. Again, you don't need it, but it definitely helps with a little more tension. Keep your neck, back, and hips all lined again. Now you want to kick up your left heel to stretch the band. Make sure you keep your hips level. Don't round your back. Keep everything in alignment and straight. And then return to the starting position. Again, you want to do all your repetitions on one side. So do 10, 15, 20 reps with your right leg. And then switch to the other side and do all your reps with the left leg. Fourth exercise for glutes is the hip abduction. So in this one, you want to stand next to a wall and hold on to it with your hand for support if you want. The resistance band should be placed around your ankles. You can lessen the resistance a little bit in this exercise by moving the band above your knees. So the more difficult is down by the ankles, less difficult the band up around your knees. You want to lift your right leg to the side while squeezing your outer glute. Keep your body straight. Don't bend your torso. That's one rep. Again, do all repetitions on one side, put the other leg down, and then switch to the other side and do all the repetitions there. The fifth exercise for glutes is the banded lateral walk. Now, when I was rehabbing my knee, I had to do these every single rehab session after surgery. I didn't really love them. They hit a lot of muscles. They definitely hit the glutes. They hit your IT band. So the way you want to do this is you want to fit a looped resistance band around your legs just above your knees. Stand with both feet together. Now, keeping your back flat and your abs engaged, you want to push your hips back, bend your knees, and lower your body into a squat. Not full squat, but shifting your weight toward your heels. Now, you want to maintain that partial squat as you simultaneously raise your hips several inches a little bit and step your right foot out to the right and then lower your hips fully. So you step to the right and move your left foot over to the right foot. So you're kind of walking sideways, right foot, left foot, stretching the band out so it creates resistance. So right foot, left foot. Again, I just do these outside. I go down one side of my backyard, back the other side of the backyard. Obviously, you want to lead with your right foot for the first part of the exercise and face the same direction. Lead with your left foot going the other way. And that is kind of one set. It'll definitely give you a burn. Your core in this exercise has to be nice and tight. You want to just make sure you're consistent, targeting your glutes, a little bit of your quads, and this one, I guarantee you will feel it. It is a burner. The sixth exercise for glutes are banded glute kickbacks. In this case, you want to place a resistance band around your legs at the ankles again. You should be able to stand comfortably with your feet shoulder width apart with the band taut. Place your hands on your hips, balance on your left leg, and move your right foot so your toes are resting on the ground slightly behind and diagonal to your left foot. Should be tension in the band. You want to tighten your core and kick your right leg back about 8, 9, 10 inches behind you. Keep your knees straight, tightly squeezing your glutes. You'll definitely feel this. It's basically just contracting on the glute, and return your right foot then to the starting position, keeping tension in the band. You want to make sure you have that tension. Don't, during the course of the exercise, take that tension off. You want to make sure you're putting that muscle under tension throughout the series of reps, throughout the whole set. After your set is complete, switch the legs and repeat instead of moving your right foot back, left foot back. There you go. The next exercise for glutes is the banded lying leg raise. So here you want to lie on your left side and loop a resistance band around your ankles. Your legs are extended straight out, stacking your right leg on top of your left. You want to bend your left elbow and prop your head up with your hand. So you're lying on the floor, lying on the side on the floor. Place your right hand on the floor in front of your chest just to give you a little bit more stability, a little more support. And then you want to slowly lift your left leg, keeping it straight and squeezing your butt. Lift as high as you can, but stop right before you feel your lower back begin to arch. And then slowly lower your leg back to the starting position. This is 1 rep. And again, do all your reps on one side, switch over to the other side, and do all the reps with the opposite leg. Moving on to hamstrings. The first exercise for hamstrings is a single leg deadlift. So in this exercise, you want to stand straight with both feet on the ground, legs straight, hands just hanging down in front of you. Now you want to press into the supporting leg as you slide the non-supporting leg back. So you're basically raising the leg kind of straight behind you as you slide that non-supporting leg back, allowing your upper body to move forward with your hips as the hinge point. And if you, at any point you start to lose balance a little bit, just touch your free-floating leg, the one that you're lifting straight behind you. Just touch it to the floor to kind of regain your balance. But keep the support, that balancing leg, or allow a slight gentle bend to the knee. And you want to complete the movement by pulling with the muscles of the backside of the body. So pull with your hamstrings and your butt muscles, so your glutes. And you want to complete then with your body upright and the support leg fully extended out behind you. Make sure to finish the full range of motion by pushing your hips forward at the top of the movement so your butt muscles are tight and flexed. Take a slight pause to assure you have full control of your balance, then lower the leg back to its starting position. Again, you can do 10 on one side, 10 on the other. And single leg exercises generally increase the glute activation because of the increased balance demand from standing on one leg instead of two. So you get an increased recruitment of the glute muscles. With the improved balance developed by regular practice of the single leg deadlift, you'll also not only just tone and strengthen your glutes, but you'll also increase your overall general athleticism and ease of movement in just daily activities. It's good exercise. The next exercise for hamstrings is the stiff-legged band deadlift. On this movement, you want to start with a looped band or a band tied in a knot, and you want to stand on the band with feet about hip width and hold on to the band with both hands. Next, you want to bend your knees slightly, hinging forward from the hips until your chest is almost parallel to the floor. You want to keep your back naturally straight, abs tight, core tight. And you should feel a slight stretch in your hamstrings in the down position. Now you want to maintain that straight spine, engage your glutes, and bring your body back to the start position. So on this exercise, you want to aim for maybe 20, 25 different reps. You should be able to feel the tightness in your hamstrings. And at the top, you can also do an iso hold to really flex the glutes at the top of the movement. Or you can do some iso holds at the end on the last couple of reps to hold it for about 10 seconds or so. The next exercise for hamstrings is the banded prone lying leg curl. So in this exercise, what you want to do is anchor the ends of a resistance band to a sturdy object. Again, I use the post of my treadmill. Lie down on your stomach with your feet about hip width apart. Place the band around one heel and flex your ankle. And you want to bend your knee, pulling your heel toward your butt. Again, while you're lying on your stomach, you want to pull your heel toward your butt, keeping your thighs and hips on the mat or on the floor. Stop when you can't pull any further and return back to the starting position. Complete 10, 15, 20 reps and then switch the band to the alternate leg and do 10, 15, 20 reps for that leg. Again, you can also, depending on if you have the size of the band, you can take both legs. If you have a longer band, you can do both legs at the same time. I like to do isolation on each leg to make sure that each side, each hamstring is doing the work, and I'm not compensating with my stronger side. So I like to do them separate. So you can just alternate those, 10, 15, 20 reps each leg. Next body part is calves. There's a couple simple things you can do. Calf raises. Do 10, 20, 30 reps off of a stair step. You can also do 10-second iso holds at the top. The calf muscle is a pretty stubborn muscle, so it's hard to overtrain it. You can basically go to failure each set. You could do, for variation, you can also do a single leg calf raise just to mix it up. So do, 20, 30 reps, right leg, 20, 30 reps, left leg. Another variation of this is the banded calf raise. So this one, again, the goal is to strengthen your calves while standing using a resistance band. And what you do is you step on a band so that it's positioned under the balls of your feet and grab each end of the band in your hands. Lift your hands so that they're at your shoulders with your elbows positioned under your wrists, and raise your heels up off the floor as high as you can so you have that extra resistance from the band. Pause for a moment and then lower your heel to the floor. You should feel a stretch in your calf muscles, and repeat for basically as many reps and sets as you can. Again, the calves take a while to build, so it's hard to overtrain them. There's a couple different variations of the calf raise. Moving on to abs. First exercise is the floor crunch. It really hits your upper abs. Pretty basic movement. You want to lie flat on your back with your knees bent 90-degree angle. Place your hands on either side of your head. Again, on the side of your head. You don't want to cross them back. You want to pull with your hands on your neck. So just kind of rest your hands on the side of your head. You want to push your lower back into the floor as you lift your shoulders a few inches off the ground. Make sure that your lower back stays in contact with the ground. You want to go crazy rocking. You just want to get the shoulders up off the ground 2 or 3 inches. Really squeeze your abs hard at the top point of the movement, and then return under control to the start position. Now, and you can do, again, sets of 20, 30, 40. You can work your way up. And while these seem kind of old school, the floor crunch actually showed in testing some of the greatest muscle activation overall. So hey, if it ain't broke. The next exercise is the oblique crunch. This is just a variation on the basic crunch where you twist your elbow to touch the opposite knee as you come up from the crunch position to pull in your obliques. So basically what you do here is you lie on your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, put your right hand behind your head, elbow flared out, and your left palm down perpendicular to your torso. And you want to contract your abs to lift your shoulders 2-3 inches up off the floor and rotate your body so you're bringing your right elbow and touching or close to touching your left knee. Slowly lower back down to the start position and repeat doing 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 reps one side and then switch to the other side. You can also, I find, just do alternating right elbow to left knee, left elbow to right knee, alternating that way to do your full set of 25 to 50 reps. Next exercise is the reverse crunch. In this case, you want to lie on your back with your arms on the floor at your sides, palm facing down against the floor. You want to bend your knees and bring them towards your chest by contracting your abs. Now, as they rise, you want to roll your pelvis to lift your hips off the floor. You don't want to just have this be a leg movement. You want to actually be an ab movement. So you want to get those hips up off the floor, squeeze at the top, then slowly lower, straightening out your legs until your thighs are perpendicular to the floor. That's a rep. And then go and do a full set. It's a good exercise. Next exercise is leg raises. This is where you're lying on the floor, again, lying on your back with your legs lifted in the air at a 45-degree angle or so. Your arms, again, by your side, pressing down onto the floor or mat. Now, without letting the lower back lift off the floor, you want to raise your legs to hip level while curling the upper body off the floor and bringing your hands to clasp behind the knees. So that's one leg raise rep. Return to start and do your full number of leg raises. A more advanced version of this is called the V-up, and this is where your hands are over your head as you bring your legs toward your chest. So you start again lying on your back, legs in the air, bent at 90 degrees, hands clasped over the chest. In one movement, you want to straighten the legs and lift the torso up, now extending your arms and really trying to touch your toes with your hands. So your body's in a V position with your arms and your legs, crunching the abs the whole time, putting the stress on the abs. You want to lower back to the start, do one rep, and continue on. Those are called V-ups. Next exercise is the Russian twist. Now this really pulls in the obliques and the transverse abs, strengthening your core, your obliques, helps your spine. It's really a great exercise that works balance, builds stability, and trims your midsection all at once. So the form here is you're sitting on the floor with your legs bent and elevated so your shins are parallel to the floor, ankles crossed, hands clasped at the chest. You want to lean back slightly so your torso and legs form kind of that V-like shape again, bracing your abdominal wall to engage your core. So balancing here, as you hold that position, what you want to do is twist your torso from side to side without moving your legs. You want to squeeze those ab muscles and rotate your upper body from side to side, and that's one rep. So you can go back and forth. That's one rep. That is the Russian twist. I'd be remiss, of course, if I didn't include planks, because it's a great exercise for overall core strengthening, helps improve stability, maintain mobility. What you want to do is you want to lie face down with your legs extended and elbows bent directly under your shoulders, palms flat on the floor. Place your feet hip width apart, elbows shoulder width apart, and the resistance band, if you want to use one, can be placed around your ankles. But you want to engage your core and your glutes. Your forearms remain on the ground. Press the floor away from you with your forearms. That's kind of what you want to visualize. And just hold that form straight line from shoulders to heels. You want to hold it for maybe 30 to 60 seconds. You can return to the starting position. Now you can work your way up here. Obviously, people can do planks for much, much longer, but it's a great overall core strengthening exercise. Its related cousin, of course, is the side plank. And this is a variation on the standard plank exercise that turns up the burn on the obliques, on the muscles on the side of your midsection. And it still works kind of the core abs as well. So here you want to start lying on your right side, hips, knees, and feet stacked straight. Put your right hand on the floor, pressing it away from you as you engage your right obliques and lift your hips toward the ceiling. So you want to lift your left arm toward the ceiling, forming a perpendicular T with your arms. And you should form, again, that straight diagonal line from shoulders to hips to heels. You're bracing your core and raising your hips until your body forms that straight line, holding it for 30 to 60 seconds, then switch sides. And you can alternate sets of side planks. Side planks are important because the muscles targeted by this movement actually help support the lower back and prevent back pain later in life. So researchers have found that those with stronger hip and back extensor muscles suffered less from lower back pain. So side planks is a great exercise, great alternative. So in summary, that concludes our second part of this two-part mini-series. We covered each of the major lower body parts in this episode and talked about multiple exercises you can try at various degrees of difficulty with and without bands. We also talked about a variety of exercises to strengthen your core and your abdominal muscles. Hopefully, these give you a few ideas to try out as you continue your fitness journey via at-home workouts. Just a note, the most common barriers to exercise are a lack of time and motivation. An added barrier to working out at home is not having someone to hold you accountable, like a trainer or other hardworking gym goers that you see putting in the work day in, day out. So to set yourself up for success, find a program that you know you'll enjoy. That way, you'll be more likely to stick to it. If you like strength training, focus on body weight movements and simple weight training exercises. Get a band set so that you can start doing more resistance exercises. But if you prefer cardio and have equipment like a treadmill or a bike at home, use those or get out and go for a walk. When you're working out at home, it's less important what you do and more important that you get up and move regularly and get after it. That's it for this week's show. We'll see you next week. With that, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to The Fitterist Show. You can follow us on Instagram at FitteristMindBody and on Twitter at FitteristMind. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to a friend or subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future episodes of The Fitterist Show. My name is Christopher Allen, and make it a magical day.